Hey everyone, I am on my way up the Talapas Lake Trail, on the way to Talapas Lake obviously, and also Lake Olali and areas beyond. As you can see, I'm carrying my skis here up the trail, and I've always wanted to come in here in winter, and this is my chance to do it. So it's obviously not winter anymore, but it'll be fun to tour around even a little bit on skis while I'm up here. Anyway, the reason I'm recording this video for you is for the idea of wilderness. And we're headed right now in the woods, obviously. To a lot of people this looks like a wilderness, but we're not yet into a federally designated wilderness with a capital W. One of the things that we can observe if we look around here is that there's evidence of human modification of the environment. So if I look over here, for example, and I can't tell if I'm showing exactly where you're looking there with this camera, but there's a stump. So the trees that were in here were all old growth trees, and they've been cut down. So now there's what we call second growth trees. You can see more of that evidence here with these stumps. As we walk along the trail, you can see that the forest has been modified. So even though it seems like a very natural forest, and actually here's a great view of this, way there. These trees have been cut and there's stumps all around, which means that the forest is not as natural as it could be because it's been completely cut down at least once. We're just about to walk into the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, which is a very large wilderness area in Washington State, in the Central Cascades of Washington State. So named because it has a large number of high elevation lakes. And a few issues around the idea of wilderness pop into our heads as we explore these ideas of wilderness and what it means in terms of its legal definition, as well as what it means for the experience of someone visiting a wilderness. In particular, as I drove into the parking lot late on an afternoon on a Saturday here, the parking lot was completely full of cars. I managed to secure a spot kind of close to the trailhead because somebody had just left and it was late afternoon, but there was a line of cars down the road leading to the parking lot. And one of the characteristics that most people agree is true of wilderness that makes it different from just a park or another kind of place is that it's not crowded. There's not a lot of people. So that's an interesting idea to think about and consider as we go on our journey into the big W, the capital W wilderness here, to consider whether encountering a lot of people on our trip brings us less of that being in nature experience than we might really value for a wilderness. I'll leave it at that for right now, and I'll share some images of the trail as we go here. All right, now we're entering the official federally designated Alpine Lakes Wilderness. All right, I made it to the lake. It's quite pretty. There's not nearly as much snow as I would have hoped, but that's okay. I'll still find some someplace. And now it's time to put on my boots. All right, I'm on the Pratt Lake Trail now, which is above Lolly Lake. I got to Lake Talapas and then was on the trail to Lake Olali. My original plan had been to get to Lake Olali and enjoy it and then continue on a faint boot track or just cross country if it was covered in snow above Olali to join this trail. But instead, I got tired of seeing so many people on the way to Lake Olali that I deviated, crossed a stream, and then joined the Pratt Lake Trail, which fairly remarkably still has a boot pack set in it, which makes for easy going. I don't have to worry about piecing together where the trail is in the woods. And so far it's very nice. I haven't seen anybody at all since I've been on this trail. How did someone know it was my birthday? So nice. This is what happens to balloons that get let go. Sometimes they end up going a long way from the party.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
All right, I'm on top of Pratt Mountain, which is a relatively minor peak here, but still feels great to be on top of something. Great view of all the mountains around. The ridge was long and a little brushy in places and rocky in other places, so I can't go back down the ridge. And anyway, I want to get down the valley over here between this peak and the next peak over there. It's called Bandera Mountain. I'm not sure if there's going to be good snow all the way down or how good the skiing is going to be. And I guess this is one of the things that a lot of people value about wilderness, is that if I were to fall and hurt myself, I'd really be out here on my own. This idea of solitude includes this idea sometimes of risk for some people. I don't like taking a lot of risk. I like to be out here and enjoy myself. So I'm not seeking that much risk, but I recognize it's part of the package of being out here and enjoying the wilderness. So I'll be really careful on the way down. And very nice. right, I made it to Island Lake, which was where I had in mind for spending the night. It's just about 7 o'clock, so I need to think about making some dinner and setting up camp and staying warm. It's already in the shade here, so it's been a really warm day, and it's not going to get that cold, but it's a lot colder in the shade already with all the snow around than it was in the middle of the day with the sun. So really a beautiful spot. All right, so here I am at the edge of the Alpine Lakes Wilderness. I haven't seen anybody since I went off the busy main trail that I was going up yesterday afternoon. And I've been thinking a lot about what that means. I've seen some footprints, a few footprints, and I've seen a few airplanes, or heard a few airplanes, and I've seen a few airplanes flying overhead. Otherwise, it's been entirely me by myself with no signs of other human activity. And on the one hand, I recognize that I value that and that it's something that I think is important. And I also think is important for more people to experience. At the same time, I recognize that it feels a little elitist of me to want to be able to have all this space to recreate in by myself. So there's a tension there between this desire for a true wilderness experience to be part of, not to be part of, for a true wilderness experience to include the opportunity for solitude. That is the chance to just be alone out in the middle of it all. And the desire to have this amazing territory available to everyone. But I don't know how to achieve that. There's no way to get 100 more people up here all looking at this view without impacting my experience and impacting each one of their experiences individually. The other thing I have been thinking about with respect to the meaning of wilderness and its opportunities for solitude is the differential access people have to this experience. Some of it is because people just don't want to go, and that's fine. I think everyone should have a chance if they can. The challenge there is that some people, even though they might like to go, can't because they might not have the resources. They might not live anywhere near a wilderness area. Even if they do live near a wilderness area, driving to a trailhead in a vehicle that's capable of going over those potholes and having the free time to come is not always a luxury people can afford. That's fair enough. We have an unequal society, and so there's lots of missed opportunities for people, but that's certainly worth mentioning, that there's not equal access based on where people live and the resources they have. And the other thing is that people with physical disabilities have a very difficult time accessing areas like this. My son has a physical disability, and we would take him backpacking when he was little, but he's too big to carry now. And so that's difficult. Now, of course, creating a wheelchair accessible trail to this location would fundamentally alter the landscape in a way that it wouldn't meet the definitions of wilderness anymore. And so I think on balance, I'm happy taking him to places that have decent access developed, and I would like to see more of those for him. But I don't think there's a good compromise with respect to the values of wilderness and access issues for everyone. It is a difficult thing to think about, though, when we think about what we want to build as a society, where this is a really cool thing to see and experience. So I want more people to do it. At the same time, I don't want to have more people out here. I hope that makes sense. All right. So this morning, the plan is to climb up a couple little peaks here and ski off the top of each one, maybe not to the bottom of each one because I might traverse over to the next one. And then when I get to the top of the second one over here, I'm going to take a look over to see what the next mountain over Mount Defiance looks like. And depending on what it looks like, I might decide to go ski it. Or if I decide not to go ski it, then I'll probably come back this way. If I decide to go ski it, it's in the wrong direction from the trailhead, so I might actually go down a different trail. But whichever way I go down, it's going to be a nice long hike out either way, and a little skiing along the way. Should be fun. Down in the trees, where the trees were denser anyway, the ridge looked like it was going to be easy travel, but the combination of some icy, sun-cupped snow, the snow has big dishes and depressions in it, and some really steep rollovers made climbing with the skis on really difficult. But now we're into some easier travel. The snow here we are back at the lake. All right, so just a little bit of footage of the trip down here in the woods on increasingly patchy snow until I finally crossed a bridge and rejoined the main trail from Olali Lake. It was incredibly busy, just packed with people. I probably saw, at least 50 people, if not more than that. I didn't count, but it was really busy. And what a contrast from the experience I'd had for the previous 12 or so hours being all by myself in the backcountry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it coming along with me on that trip and give you some things to think about in terms of the wilderness and what it means to every one of us. Thanks so much and have a great day.